Hello, good morning, viewers. You are watching QTV this morning. We are back on another edition of This Morning. It's Thursday, the 18th of May, 2023, and we are broadcasting live from our studios along Kairaba Avenue, the Gambia, West Africa. We apologize. Yesterday, we couldn't, be on the show because of one or two reasons, But we are here today, and today I am joined by Mr. Ade. Ade, good morning.
Good morning, Balde. It's always a thrill to be on here, although this morning I'm pretending to be Julde. So I have to say good morning to our beautiful, wonderful viewers.
Exactly. So, as you know, the program timing has been changed from 10 a.m. to, 9 a.m. now. Because of the commission. So, we will try to accommodate the guests that we have in the studio. Later, we will be having the police PRO with the communication director of IEC. As you know, we are currently busy talking about elections. And, when elections are fast approaching, security is key, Mr. Ade.
It's paramount. And also, they've been campaigning. And I believe today should be the last day for campaign.
I hope so.
The 18th.
Tomorrow it's going to be more of
cooling off day. And so, but you're right. It's a very important time, and of course we do need to hear from the PRO and also from the IEC. So I'm looking forward to that one.
Absolutely. Yeah. And we will go straight to the African proverb. It reads, "He who conceals his disease cannot expect to be cured."
Hey.
Yes.
Well, I think this one we can take it both literally and metaphorically. I mean, literally, if you hide the fact that you have a disease, then of course you cannot be cured. But if you want to be kind of take it in the metaphorical sense, it means you might have a problem that needs solving, and you might not be able to solve it yourself. But if you keep it to yourself, then you're not going to be able to get the help to solve that problem or the conundrum or whatever. You might not need help in. It could be 100 different things. But if you're the only one who knows that this thing is something that's a problem and needs solution, tell somebody. And then, they say it's good to talk. You talk to somebody, somebody's like, oh, I can help you with that. And then, bam, your problem is solved, or literally your disease is cured. So I love this one because,
it used to be problem shared, problem solved.
Yes,
but it used to be, Mr. Ade.
Yes, in fact, I think one of the sort of adages is a problem shared is a problem halved as well, because you share it with somebody, they take off half the burden from you. Although sometimes you share the problem, and that becomes an even bigger problem. But generally, if you share a problem and people can help, then of course that's what you should be doing. So as I say, I particularly like this one because sometimes we have things, we carry them around with us, and it can weigh you down. And somebody might look at your face and say, "Bale, what's the problem? What's the matter?" And you're like, "Oh no, I don't want to talk about it." And they go, "No. Yeah. What is it? Maybe I can help."
Yeah.
You never know.
There is something that I've realized in our society today. There are things that if you ask a person, "What's the problem?" the person will be like, "No, it's okay. I don't have any problem." While you have problems.
We all do that.
Yes. But Mr. Ade, it's difficult to confine in other people.
Yeah.
It's very difficult. If I tell certain people what I'm going through, tomorrow someone is going to hear that.
Yeah.
You understand?
And sometimes we don't want to expose our weakness because we think that might be used against us, even by that person. So you, as you said, you can't confide in people because in a way you don't know who to trust. As the song says, your best friend might end up being your worst enemy. And so sometimes that's why we keep things to ourselves, because you want to confide because it's bothering you, it's weighing you down, but you don't know who can I tell? And and not only that, you think, well, if I tell them, is there anything they can do about it? But unless you tell them, you'll never know.
That draws my attention to the process of giving and taking. Maybe I can have the confidence to come to Mr. Ade and tell Ade, I need this in secret. Ade will do it for me. Tomorrow, Ade won't stand somewhere and tell people that, you came the other day, I helped you. You understand? Yeah. So this also can break someone to an extent that he won't be able to tell people, what he feels, what he likes,
And if anybody watching or listening to this, they've probably been through the same in their lives. you know, big in either a big or a small way, where you told somebody something and that person says, oh, I can help you, and you think they're just helping you out of the goodness of their heart. And then tomorrow it's like, yeah, this guy, don't mind him. You know, the other day he didn't have this, he didn't have that. He came to me and I gave him that. And they start bragging and bigging themselves up, you know, and that's embarrassing. So if that happens to you, then you will never trust anybody again to go to them and say, I need help, and so on. So yeah, we've all been there.
Exactly, absolutely. I mean, interesting. And I think we have the newspapers now. So what we'll do, we'll take a short break. After the break, then we will review some of the stories on the newspapers. We'll be back.
Medicalia is a high-quality clinic from Europe, which is now in the Gambia. Do you have an eye problem? Do you feel a hearing difficulty? Medicalia is here to ease the pain for you. The first and only hearing aid dispensing facility nationwide, where patients can be tested and treated to recover from their hearing loss. Fitted with latest generation equipment, our doctors can provide healthcare assistance for eyes, ears, nose, and throat. Common diseases like glaucoma or diabetic retinopathy can be diagnosed and followed up for fast and correct treatment. Make your appointment with the eye or ear, nose, and throat ENT specialist today to relieve any pain you might be feeling, as consultants are available daily. Contact us for more information. Visit us at Tropic Shopping Center near Senegambia from 9 a.m. to 11 p.m. every day of the week, or call us on 503-4411 or 7767-123. Medicalia, premium care, personal touch.
So we are back, and this is QTV This Morning. I am Ibrahim Abalde. I mean, we've already dealt with the African proverb, and you know, like I said later, we will be talking about elections and security, very significant. We are supposed to have Pamakan Communication Director, and of course, the personnel from the police, that's the Deputy Police PRO, ASP Dabo. And of course, after the newspaper review, we'll be discussing security measures put in place, you know, what are they expecting, and at the same time, you know, in case, like people will say, in case of incasity. Yes. So, Mr. Ade, I have the Fourier newspaper. More gun cells enter Gambian territory from Casamance. OJ laid to rest. And of course, PS Sanyang ministry failed to fully enforce audit reports on council. And we also have, will election take place in? That's what Fourier is asking.
Where?
Will election take place in?
In where?
Well, I mean,
there's something missing.
I think that's a dash after that.
Okay.
The changing face of Gambian politics on Fourier.
So that's what you have on
Fourier.
So
what do you have there?
I'm greedy. I have two newspapers. I have The Voice and I have The Point. I will start with The Voice. Top left, pressure group frowns at IEC Director of Communication. Now, if anybody in the media is watching this, newspapers, radio, TV, stop using this phrase, frowns. This is a frown.
Yeah. To
just say they criticize the person. Stop saying frowns at. It's a nonsense phrase. Honestly,
it's
silly.
bunkum. It doesn't make any sense.
Honestly, you know, frowns at. Anyway, next one I have: President Barrow confers posthumous national award on the late Honorable O.J. Jallow as Gambians mourn him. Of course, we were talking about that off camera before we came on. Honorable Sanyang urges President Barrow to stop deceiving Gambians for electoral gain. This is to do with the fact that the president has been going around laying foundation stones and amongst other things for roads and so on, and he's saying this is deceptive. Casamance peace mediator tasked the Gambian government to facilitate peace dialogue with other rebel groups, because one rebel group have laid down their arms. For those who've been following or haven't been following matters in Casamance, one rebel group have said that they're going to lay down their arms, and they've done so publicly, and we've seen them surrender their weapons. But there's another separatist group who are not doing so. And then finally, at the bottom of The Voice, I have Gambian economy remains resilient, showing signs of recovery, says Sekou Toure. And that's not President Sekou Toure of Guinea, by the way. And the Point newspaper I have here, Japan ambassador visits Midas in Tangier. Tipper Association calls on the government and SMJ Sand Quarry to reduce cost of sand. And by the way, don't only reduce cost of sand, stop sand mining. It is damaging some communities. Top right, I have EU ambassador pays courtesy call on VP Jallo. And then Barrow leads tribute to veteran politician OJ. And of course here you mentioned the Commission of Inquiry. PS, Permanent Secretary Sanyang, admits local government ministry does not enforce as required. Well, that's the kind of thing across the Gambia. We have lots of laws that are not enforced. Yeah. Finance Ministry signs $16 million concessional loan for UTG Phase 2 project. So that's a good one. And then Gambia High Commission awards Amir Silla at the London Book Fair. Anything on sports that I can quickly jump to, because the under-20 are in Argentina. Oh, and the under-20 World Cup is about to kick off.
For their test match, right?
Yes, and they beat Godoy Cruz in a friendly match. 4-0 in Mendoza, in Argentina. And Gambia to participate in Africa Beach Wrestling Championship. And Fortune win, Real de Banjul held in the Gambia Premier League. And Aubameyang, Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, has said that he will now play for Gabon, having earlier last year said he was retiring from international football. He's changed his mind. I bet the Gabonese are celebrating.
All right, that's what we have.
That's what we have. So where do you want to go? Shall we?
Yes, let's talk about our legend, our OJ. Yes, he was laid to rest yesterday. And, you know, many people gathered and talked about him.
Thousands
gathered.
Yes,
they talked about OJ, and I can even point out some political figures that said they started, their school career with OJ from a very tender age. So, well, he is known to be a person, a very active person, and at the same time, a person who loves his country. Sure. And at the same time, a person who will stand for the truth, even if you will die.
Of course.
He will always tell the truth.
Yes, I was discussing him yesterday with somebody, and I said that almost every obituary mentioned that he held the record of for the number of times he was arrested by the former Jammeh regime, 22 times. That came to light when he was giving evidence at the TRRC. And I said that should not be his legacy. He was more than that. He was once leader of the People's Progressive Party, you know, after the APRC coup of 1994. And I first met him, actually, sadly, when we were on the platform discussing Sadauda Jawara's funeral. He came and he spoke to myself and Mboj on the QTV platform there. And that was the first time I'd met him. I'd kind of met him sort of semi-formally, shaking hands with him, but that was the first time that when everything was over, we had a chance to talk. And yeah, everybody had nothing but good things to say about him.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
Let's talk about the TRRC reparations. Yes. I mean, most of the time, people talk about the reparations. I mean, now, people like OJ are no more. Sure. And these are the people that suffered during Jammeh's era. Sure. Now, what do you think should be done for these people? Should all the reparations go to their families, or what should happen?
I think OJ is probably a bad case that you've chosen. And I say that in the sense that 20th of July, last year or the year before, OJ famously said that he had forgiven those who had tortured him. Yeah. And so for him, he wasn't seeking any reparations. And we saw him when he came to the TRRC that July and in front of the world. And on our cameras we have, in fact, we used some of the footage the other day. He said, you know, I forgive those who did this to me, addressed him and cut off his finger. So for him, he wasn't seeking reparations. Not everybody was. Certainly not everybody was seeking financial reparations. He wanted the people who did it to him to apologize, and for him that was enough. So for some people, that is the reparation that they're looking for. For others, when you've killed the breadwinner, you have seriously disadvantaged that family, then for them financial reparations will help, but it's not going to bring back their loved one, of course, we know that. But their lives have probably been destroyed, and even the financial recompense is not going to make up for that. but at least it will be something. They can help to rebuild their lives. So you mentioned the TRRC and you mentioned the reparations. The government has now set out, because the big question has been, what's it going to cost? Now we've been told people can go online, they can download the full document. I think it's 34 pages, which lists, including the amounts that will be set aside for different things. And I warn people, it's not an easy task, but the government doesn't have to find the money itself. There's a thing called the United Nations Peace Building Fund. Most of the money will come from that. That will be, used for these reparations. So they're not going to bankrupt the Gambian economy to pay for these reparations, but it needs to be done.
Exactly.
I'm glad to see that government has now actually set out, in not just in words, but in figures, what they intend to pay. Yeah.
All right. I mean, when I saw this on the paper, will election take place? So I said I should go in.
I'm tempted for you to go in. Yeah. What's the if?
Into the story. If now they are talking about the displaced families in the Fonyis. I mean, we have the families that are internally displaced at the moment. I mean, what about if I am supposed to vote in Fonyi Bintang, and currently I am in Fonyi Karanai or Fonyi Batabut Kantora or somewhere, so how am I going to vote?
Sad to say, unfortunately on this occasion you will not be allowed to vote, but that will not invalidate the rest of the election, because sometimes things happen that are unplanned for, unforeseen. And I know in Gambia we use the phrase unfortunate, and sometimes we use it unfortunately in the wrong terms, but for me it will be an unfortunate situation if, because you've been displaced, you cannot vote. I'm not sure that there's any easy solution. Sad to say, and we have to be honest about this, it will mean that come Saturday, when everybody else is voting, you will not be able to vote. It's as simple as that, because there's no mechanism for you to vote somewhere else. You're supposed to vote where you're supposed to vote. And if you're displaced, sadly, we've seen it all over Africa. It's not just, we're talking about a Gambian situation, but this could happen anywhere. And because on Saturday, there's not enough time to go with a plan B, saying you've been displaced from here, go and vote somewhere else. Even your document that you might need to vote, you've had to run away and leave it behind. So even that has disadvantaged you. So it's a very unfortunate situation, but not one that we can help at all.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, I think it's telling you how conflict can lead to many things. I mean, how it can displace families, how it can even deny you of exercising and expressing your rights as a citizen.
Totally. True. And through this displacement, we've also seen school children, school pupils, not being able to go to school. That's another. Education is a human right. You're now being denied your education, so you can't go to school until there's peace. Because if you get up in the morning and you heard bullets flying, and then you pick up bullet casings, that's telling you that area is unsafe, because one day one of those bullet casings is going to hit somebody, a school child, a teacher, anybody.
No, you can joke with anything except bullets.
Yeah. Because bullets fly, sometimes they don't know they hit somebody that they're not intended for. So the people are shooting each other, but the bullet doesn't know that you're not meant to be. And so school children are displaced, and that's again them being denied their rights. So it's tragic. In fact, for me, this one is not just unfortunate; it's tragic, particularly education, which is something that we owe to our children, a good education.
Mr. Ade, election is coming on Saturday, and each political candidate is talking about the things that they intend to do. Some of them even release their manifesto.
Yes.
And now people are mature politically. Now people just sit and listen. For me, you see my voter's card, I don't leave it behind anywhere I go. Even if they say vote today, I'll go and vote. So this is where I put my voter's card, because this is the most powerful tool that I can use to change the system.
It's true, and we've discussed this before. We've had low voter turnouts. I'm urging people to exercise this right that people fought for many years. They fought for people to be able to get the right to vote. I mean, don't forget, in my lifetime, there was a time when if you lived outside of Banjul, you didn't even have the vote. In my lifetime, I'm not 100 years old, So this vote that everybody now has, the kind of, we're all enfranchised, don't disenfranchise yourself by not voting. And if you vote and you complain that, oh, the reason I don't vote is because these people don't do anything for us, when you vote, go and complain to them. Say, look, I voted for you. You're not doing what you promised. You know, but don't just say, oh, I'm not going to vote. Vote. You know, get out there and vote, please.
Well, I think there is more for people to learn. Instead of you complaining to the person that you voted for, you think it's to celebrate the individual. If I put Ade in a position, maybe my National Assembly member, when I see Ade, instead of telling Ade, look, there are problems here.
You sing and dance instead.
All that I'll do is to tell Ade, I'm broke. You understand? Or Ade, you know, celebrating you, instead of telling you the problems of you know, the problems I'm facing.
I think, you know, generally across Africa, and you know, I used to advise ministers and members of parliament in Sierra Leone, and I used to say to them, this message is one that you should carry with you. People elect you to serve. They don't elect you to rule over them. You have to see yourself as a servant of the people. Because in a proper democracy, if you fail those people who have elected you, they can deselect you by not voting for you in the next election. So when you are in power, always remember that you are there to serve them. And if you go in with that concept, you cannot fail, because you consult with the people who have elected you, and you bend to their will. You do what they want. But many of them don't. They get into these positions of power and they become very puffed up. They go somewhere, everybody has to stand attention when they come into the room. And, you know, we're human beings. It can go, the ego thing, it can go to their heads.
Yeah.
You know, and they end up forgetting that they were elected. You know, but yeah, we have to fight that. So yeah, but yeah, we want people to go out and vote.
Yeah.
Please.
So what do you have there?
What do I have? I have quite a lot. So one of the ones that I think, you know, particularly I'm interested in is this thing about Casamance. What we've just been talking about. I won't dwell on it because we kind of touched on it before. But there's one of the separatist groups have publicly signed a peace agreement, and they've publicly also come out and literally thrown their weapons to the ground and said, we're laying down arms, we're fed up. This has been rumbling since 1982 in Casamance, this kind of low-level war. I saw an article about 2 weeks ago, said the war that Africa has forgotten about, that the world has forgotten about, because it's not everyday war. Every now and then you'll hear Senegalese soldiers chase somebody, they shot somebody, somebody shot back. They exchanged bodies of their deceased, you know, and so it's been kind of creeping thing, you know, but it's kind of been this low-level thing. And if you live there, then you must be fed up of it because it's dragged on for so long, you know, 45 years.
Well, you know, there are times that when Casamance is mentioned, the mental picture you have is war.
Yeah.
Yes, that's the mental picture you have.
That's right.
You think about rebels, you think about guns, you think about, you know, people killing each other.
That's right.
Yes.
You know, so we have that. And then we have, you know, I mentioned also in passing, this Tipper Association calls on the government and SMJ Sand Quarry to reduce the cost of sand. I thought they were going to say reduce sand mining. But we go to some communities and the areas have been severely depleted because of sand mining, because that shows you that lots of people are constructing properties, and so they're mining sand and they are harming the environment. We don't think about these things until there's a disaster. You hear about areas where there's collapse because the mine.
If you go to Kartong, you would be really disappointed. I mean, I was at Kartong some time ago. There was a place that had a lot of palm trees. I mean, you have a lot of palm trees there. So because of this mining, they uprooted almost all the palm trees. I went there the other day. I was really shocked with what I saw.
For me, those things really sadden me when I see things like that, particularly if it's an area that you used to go to. Because those palm trees, they have a use beyond, you know, other things. Obviously, we can get the fruits from them, you know, literally the whatever fruits they give forward. But also they provide shade, and if you have a lot of them, also they help to, you know, bind the soil together. But you uproot them because you want to start, you know, ripping up the mine, the sand rather, in sand mining. Then that can, you know, end up being detrimental to the local area. So I hate to see stuff like that, you know. So have I got time to delve quickly into or not?
I'm just told
you've been told I've run out.
It's time.
But P.S. at the Ministry of Lands, people need to watch his testimony at the Commission of Inquiry. Some very, very interesting stuff and some quite explosive stuff.
Yeah. Someone talked about IEC on one of the newspapers, and something like an IEC director. Someone was talking about the IEC communications director, something.
Okay, I've not seen that.
Yes, all right, we'll delve into that.
Yeah.
And we'll take a short break. After the break, we'll talk to the Gambia Police Force, and of course, the Independent Electoral Commission will be back.
Step into the Espas Motors showroom for your luxurious name brand vehicle. Located along the Bertil Harding Highway, Espas Motors is the Gambia's authorized dealer for Chery, Kia, Ford, and now we bring you the new Peugeot Model 3008 SUV. 18-inch alloy wheels, 216 inches high ground clearance, keyless entry system, start and stop button, rear parking assistance system, reverse camera, adaptive cruise control with speed limit, LED daytime running lights, front and side airbags, 8-inch HD touchscreen. Not to forget our exquisite Peugeot Landtrek double cabin pickup with 2.1-liter diesel engine, 6-speed manual transmission 4x4, hill descent control, LED daytime running lights. Espas Motors, the authorized dealer for Peugeot. Visit us today or call us on 35-22-222 or 353-4444.
Do your banking the smart way with the new Ajibank mobile app. Transfer money to any bank account in the Gambia. Top up airtime for all networks. Pay utility bills. Check your account balance and view mini statements. Request for ATM cards. Request for checkbooks and more in a single touch. So, do your banking in a smart way. Do your banking now with Ajibank mobile app. Every time is banking time. Ajibank, your investment partner.
QMoney is back again with its easy-to-use, secure and convenient mobile app that allows you to carry out all your transactions. No matter where you are or what time it is, you can always access your funds. With the new QMoney app, you can cash in and out, buy credit, buy QPower, shop, make payments, and so much more. You can also send QMoney, pay bills, receive international remittances, and transfer cash to others. Just download the app from your Play Store or App Store and get started. For more information, call customer care on 133. QMoney, Sinu Calpe. We innovate, others follow.
You're watching QTV this morning. I am Ibrahim Obalde. We are back, and now we will talk to ASP Dabo, Deputy PRO from the Gambia Police Force, and Pama Khan, Communications Director from the Independent Electoral Commission. It's important for us to talk about election and security. As you know, most of the violence when it comes to, in Africa are caused by election, difference in party. People have differences. So it's important for us to strengthen security before, we talk about going into elections. So, Mr. Ade, I think it's important to discuss this.
It's extremely important. I mean, I've said this many times before, and I'm glad that we have someone from the police here, because in Gambia, I think we should not be complacent. There's not a history of electoral violence, really. I'm from Sierra Leone. We've got elections 24th of June this year. I can guarantee you there will be violence. There always is in Sierra Leone, sad to say. No matter what people preach, it happens. So we don't want that here, but obviously it's good to know that should anything happen, we are prepared. So if I could come to you, ASP Dabo, what can people expect in terms of how the police will be, sort of protecting us and kind of guaranteeing our safety?
Thank you so much. Good morning, Saade. Good morning, Balde. It's very important, especially this time around. Emotions are very much rife. That's always expected during point of when election is before us. And as a security institution, we are always very much prepared. And that is why our contingency plan is always drafted such that it addresses the security threats, yes. It addresses some assumptions, and the plan is such a way that it also addresses issues before, during, and after elections, such that our people and all other sister security forces are deployed across the length and breadth of this country. As we speak this morning, we have our people already deployed. Some 2 days ago, some yesterday, some are going today. Okay. As far as the buses, the CRRs, Northbank and LRR, sure. to ensure that they go to their duty posts, the different polling stations, to serve as facilitators and to coordinate to ensure people vote peacefully and go home peacefully. And this will, in fact, help us a lot because we have learned in the previous election. But just to put it straight, the Gambia Police Force has been awarded in the previous election for the great maintenance of peace and other. That's one of the reasons why the Inspector General of Police win the Continental Award for maintaining electoral peace. So it is just to continue from where we stopped. We try to adjust our contingency plan all the time. We've learned some lessons during the last elections. There were no major fracas, there were no major fights. Of course, there were misunderstandings as always expected, but they were handled professionally and timely.
Okay. Before you go to Pamakan Khan, just a very quick one. In Sierra Leone, in Ghana, in Nigeria, when elections are approaching, the people from the security services, the police and the army, are allowed to vote a day or two before so that they can be deployed somewhere else. They don't have that system here in the Gambia,
No,
do they?
we are not, and I'm happy that the communication officer IEC is here. Usually for presidential elections, our officers can vote anywhere they go.
Right.
Yeah, for these two elections, unfortunately,
for the local
they don't vote.
Yes.
So the communication officer of the IEC is here. Probably they have strategies that they want to look into to ensure that we are not disenfranchised.
Well, this is it. This is it.
Yes.
And that's why I asked the question.
Exactly. So, Palmer Khan, welcome to the program. I've also seen pressure groups, frowned.
And I hope you're not frowning at him too.
Well, I am just trying to know why they frowned at him.
Why are they frowning at you?
Yes.
So can we address that? Because just very, very quickly before we delve into this. Because it's talking about, it was to do with election malpractice. And before you answer, I have to say that I've always kind of brushed this off. Every year there are elections since I've been here. I've heard about, all these Senegalese voting, all these Sierra Leoneans voting. We hear, but nobody has ever brought a shred of evidence in support of it. If it's all happening and it's so rampant, bring the evidence. Yet we never hear it. So this is kind of what they're having a go at you about. So I just wonder if you would like to address that point.
Yes, maybe, it's a democracy. And of course, people have their opinions and they can say whatever. But as far as election is concerned, election is law-based. We try as best as we can as a commission to conduct Gambian elections according to law, and also as best as we can to do it in the most transparent manner, in the most peaceful manner, and in the most fair manner. Nonetheless, people have to talk, people have to, they have a right to their opinion. So I don't think we can do much about that. After all, it's a democracy. People are free to speak up whatever they want to talk about.
Yeah, exactly. So how far have you gone with all the preparations? We are looking forward to Saturday. What strategies have you put in place already? I've seen a lot of people gathered at the IEC office here next to Alliance Française. I know they are ready to go to their assigned locations. So what are the things currently? What are the things you're doing?
Very well. We've gone so far. We're almost at the point right now. Because as we are speaking, as you rightly mentioned, we are currently deploying our polling staff who number over 6,000 across the country. And of course, we're also deploying police officers, over 3,000 of them. So we're having a massive logistical arrangement that we are currently doing. making sure that we ferry all those about 9,000 to 10,000 staff, personnel to their respective polling stations across the country. Of course, we know we have 1,555 polling stations, and which are to be manned by this personnel from the IEC and from the Gambia Police Force. And of course, in terms of their preparedness, I would say they are fully prepared to conduct very transparent and also to conduct elections according to law. And again, in terms of their preparedness, they've all been trained adequately, and of course, they've all have been equipped enough, and they have been given enough materials to conduct the poll in the most efficient manner. So right now, I will say we're just waiting for the E-Day. We call it E-Day, not D-Day. It's E-Day. That's the 28th on Saturday, and then we expect people, Gambians, registered voters, to come out in their numbers and then to cast their votes. This is starting from 8 o'clock in the morning and ends by 5 o'clock in the evening.
5 p.m.
5 p.m., yes.
Yeah, so what have you learned from the past election? I mean, is there any anything encountered? I mean, you know, the past elections, have you seen anything that you were supposed to adjust this time?
Yes, very well. We had some few lapses here and there, and of course we hope to rectify those lapses this time round. And again, we even have some issues in the process. Of course, the elections was quite transparent. I would say it's second to none in, if not Africa, the whole world. Gambia conducts one of the most transparent elections all over the world. And then the issue encountered was the low, apparently low voter turnout. So which I think this time round, through engagements we did, and also through sensitization, and again to encourage Gambians, to encourage Gambian voters to come out in their numbers. Because of course voting is a political right, and it's a human right of every registered voter to come out and then have a say in the national governance. That's in how you would like to be governed and who to represent you, especially in these local government councils, which are of course very important when it comes to national development. So we expect people to come out in their numbers and then to cast their votes.
Dabo Jula, are we equipped? I mean, the Gambia Police Force, I'm surprised an institution will tell you we don't have resources. Are we equipped? I mean, do we have enough resources to go and cover this?
Yes, yes. Elections are very much sensitive, and they should be given that attention, especially when it comes to security issues. I said it in the beginning that it's a moment when emotions are so high, and that you've also cited during your presentation that is one of the causes of violence, you know, in our society, in our setup, social setup. So as a matter of fact, it is something that we don't joke with. We ensure that our people are deployed, and they are deployed timely. Sometimes it's good that they go timely, get themselves prepared and set, understand the environment very well, and have their necessary equipment. And apart from that, we are enhancing this deployment with patrols. And these patrols are also across all regional commissioners are also prepared. They have emergency, we call them quick response team, ready for any emergency situation to go and address it. And just to digress a little, I think our efforts in ensuring that we provide security professionally should be appreciated. One of the best way, one of the recent occasions was the Defa Doi protest by the protesters. You've seen how we've granted them the permit, and we ensure that they are protected. Not just that the Inspector General of the police have
given them water,
packets of water, you know, and we were there. I was in their clothes. We stood together, you know. That's how much we're trying to transform and reform the entire security process. But it cannot be done without the support of the public. So while our security officers are deployed alongside sister forces, the Gambia Armed Force, the Fire and Rescue Service, and other security forces and services, they should be supported by the public. It should be understood that when you go there for your voting. It's a matter of principle that once you vote, you should leave the premises and go home to wait for the results. So once you comply, you are essentially assisting our officers in executing their functions and responsibilities.
Exactly, Mr. Ade, before you, I mean, is it allowed for me to go with my party color to go and vote? Maybe with my flag, with my yellow, gray, ash color, or red flag, green. Should I go with it to go and vote?
Very important. No. Maybe before I go into that, you just talk about the campaign also. We know that campaign started from the 5th of May and ends today, the 18th of May. Of course, by 18th of May today at midnight, legally all campaign activities has to cease. So meaning that from tomorrow, there's supposed to be no campaign of any kind. And this continues to election day. And of course, people have to take note of this, that there is no campaign going on during elections. And as a result, they are legally restricted from going to a polling station with materials that can be associated to any political party. Of course, some may argue that, yes,
I just like a green T-shirt.
No.
Or I just like a yellow T-shirt.
No, any color you wear on belongs to a political party.
Yeah, right.
Very well. Yeah. But of course, we also have can identify some of the colors or some of the materials to political parties.
Right.
So we encourage all Gambians, all voters to take note of this. Make sure that when you go to vote at your polling station, of course, in voting, you can only vote where you are registered. So just take note that if you are registered in Latrikunda Primary School, you always have to go there to vote. So when going to vote, please don't come with any party T-shirt, any party
paraphernalia.
Paraphernalia.
Yeah, quite.
Very well, scarf or whatever. Just come out to vote with your ordinary colors, like Mr. Ade is wearing a beautiful shirt. Ibrahim is wearing some beautiful shirt. So we cannot
something neutral.
Something
neutral thing.
Exactly. That may not be associated with any political party. Of course, we know the parties, they have their identified colors. So let's avoid coming to vote with them. Because even if you attempt to do so, the security will not allow you to come in. So you're wasting time. So please, let people take note of this. This is not the first time, in fact, Gambians are voting. Gambians have been voting very well for the past decades. So, of course, it's the same process, it's the same laws. There is no changes in the laws, and people have to abide by this. Let them come out and vote in the most civil manner. Let them cast their vote. As soon as they've cast their vote, let them go back to their houses and then leave the IEC and other stakeholders to do the work for them. Because I think it's transparent enough. The political parties are with us at the polling station. The observers are with us at the polling station. The media are with us at the polling station. The police are with us at the polling station. So I think there is a representation from most of the key stakeholders in this process. So rest assured, your vote is secured. There was a time, one of the media houses, I said, somebody asked, how secured are our votes? We're saying that your votes are 100% secured by the IEC and, of course, other stakeholders. Of course, for the political parties, of course, we know each political party, you are allowed to provide or to send 2 party agents at every polling station. So I think that's the highest level of transparency that we can give. Making sure that these stakeholders, it's not just IEC, but they are also, in it, as a team. So I think it's the most transparent.
I think, Mr. Ade, despite the little resources we have, I mean, the Gambia Police Force and IEC, they are trying to adjust to make sure things are transparent, and at the same time there is peace.
And not only that, as has been said by both gentlemen, we've always had observers from other countries, from other organizations. And if you go online, so you don't have to take my word for it, they've been glowing in their reports about both the police force and the IEC in how they have conducted their business in terms of transparency and so on. And the reason it's important is because across Africa, we know of many instances where elections have not been transparent and are still not transparent. So whenever you see the reports that have been done by the AU, the EU, United Nations, ECOWAS observers about the police and about the IEC, they've always been very commended them for the work that they've done. And I just wondered if very quickly, one question each to you. I'll start with you, Pama Kankan. The results, if you could just tell the public, how will they be disseminated at the end of the day? When all the tallying has been done, how will the results be communicated to them?
Yes, very important that we know that there is what we call counting on the spot. That is, where the voting took place is where we will also do the counting. The vote, the boxes will not move an inch. So once polls close at 5 o'clock or thereabout, then immediately after that, they remove the boxes and then count in the presence of all the stakeholders, in the presence of political party agents, in the presence of the media, in the presence of candidates, representatives, in the presence of observers. Of course, once this is done, copies of those results would be distributed to political parties, agents, and also one would be pasted, for the community within the locality, so that at the end of the day, they can also, know of their...
We see people go with their phones and they take pictures.
That's the beginning of the counting process. Then once this is done, then it moves to another stage, that is the collation process, in which case then we would collate all the polling stations in that locality. We'll do it ward by ward. So the polling stations within that ward would all be tabulated together, then having the total. And once this is done again, then we move to the regional office where all the wards would now be tabulated to have the figure for the region, or the local government area. If it is Banjul, all the 9 wards of Banjul will be tabulated to give the results for Banjul. If it is for the West Coast, all the 28 wards will be tabulated to give the results for West Coast. The same applies for Basse, Mansakonko, Kerewan, Janjambure, Kuntawur, and Basse. So I think it's the most transparent. And once this is done at that level, even one funny thing happens. People, most of the time, they even know the results before IEC.
I was going to come to that, but yeah.
Because once we are busy with juggling with the figures,
they've done all the added.
They've already
Excel spreadsheets.
done down addition somewhere.
Tabulated.
But just let's take note of one thing, that results must never be announced or declared by anybody else. It is against the law. Of course, the IEC, being the legally mandated body, is the only body, is the only authority which is mandated to declare or announce election results. So I think we have to take note of this. That results, you wait for the results. I know people may be in a haste, but please give us time. Let's do the needful, make sure that we tabulate in the most accurate manner.
Well, I think
now we're taking our time,
I think Saturday, by Sunday, you should be able to know your count.
Of course, but mistakes can be made. But you've touched on a valid point, because we live in an age now where people tend to, because of this, I want to be first with announcing it. They don't wait for you, let's be honest. They go online and they say, but I think if they say, look, these are not the official results, this is just our tabulation, that I think it's unavoidable these days.
If it's not from IEC, it's not valid, even if the figures are correct. Only IEC have the mandate to give out correct figures.
Absolutely.
Very well. Legally, it's only the IEC. So please, very well, you can do your own tabulation. But wait to see whether what IEC announced is what you have. And of course, sometimes we have issues here and there, but let's know that IEC has the official version. That's the final and authentic version. Of course, people from their own calculations, make errors here and there. Okay? But for IEC, this is why it takes time, because we take all the time to check, cross-check, confirm, and then come out to declare. So once we declare, we make sure that definitely it's the authentic results, is the most accurate results, and let's people wait. And again, we make sure that people, they have to be aware of this, that IEC has the powers to declare as results and nobody else. So I think that's very important.
All right, I mean, finally.
If I just very quick one, you talked about deployment, and I just wondered, when you're deploying people to the various regions, do you actually take cognizance of the fact that, Balde is from Basse. Perhaps because he knows the area, we'll deploy him there because that might help the situation. Do you take any of those sorts of things into consideration?
Yeah, we during the contingency plan, we put a lot of considerations. One of them is what you have cited. Another one is whether the deployment of that particular person will not compromise the process.
Yeah, fine.
And as a matter of fact, we are very much conscious.
Sure.
I can tell you, for example, right now, most of the people that serving officers at Banjul, most of them are already deployed in the CRR and URR.
Right.
In that way, of course, there is tendency, highly expected, because apart from everything else, apart from the natural reasons, they are also very much briefed as to what is expected of them, as to how they conduct themselves during exercising their duties and responsibilities.
Sure.
So the natural reasons will be the fact that for the mere fact I am not from this jurisdiction, understanding the settings, our Gambian settings, I will be more respected. And then people will be able to give me that accord, and I can do my duties very freely. But you take Balde to do that Balde Kunda, he'll be distracted by the number of greetings,
family
members, and for some reasons he cannot ignore them.
Exactly.
He'll have to talk to them, even though. And the understanding is, he'll be like, okay, Balde now that he's an officer, he doesn't even want to talk to him. So all of these considerations are done by our
always good and the bad.
When we are doing our operational plans, we do them. But we are also very much cognizant of the fact that in as much as we should be careful of those things, we should also have people who understand or who have a fair knowledge of the jurisdiction that they are going. At least they will be able to tell where someone enters in and where another person goes
Exactly.
out.
I'm told time is already against us. I mean, just to remind you, we would be bringing you here on QD TV all the election coverage. I mean, we will try to keep it professional. In the Gambia, we are the IEC of all the televisions, so we are genuine and at the same time reliable. Whenever we give you our results, know that they are from IEC. So tune in to QTV and we'll be bringing you, one of the best election coverage this time. Until we come your way.
Okay, I'll just say to the public there, go out and vote, but cooperate with the authorities. If you see a problem, report it to the police, report it to the IEC. Don't take the law into your own hands, and let's have peaceful elections.
Thank you, ASP Dabo. Thank you, Pamakan, for coming. Until we come here again Monday, have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.